Dollar index, we start with the daily chart. Okay, as we can see, based on daily chart, there is no much changes. Still, we are within this move. The question whether this is the start of the up move or we can get the price can drop and break this low before we get the uptrend. Okay, in this case, we move to lower time frame. We see what's the changes. Okay, if you refer back to my last video and the price was somewhere around here, we mentioned that we have two options. One of the option is this is the only correction, and this is the one, this is the end of the move relative to this. That means we have only this correction and we can expect the price to drop. That's why we discussed that maybe the price from here can reverse based on what I explained right now. And the another option was that we expect to get a bigger correction. We had two options, and now the only things we can say, if we go with the second option, I mean, when we go with the base, I mean, for second option, which we have a correction here, in that case, we put this one in relative to this, and this is the only one we have it. That means the price from here, we can expect one move up, then from there, whether we can get the down move or not. Again, the only thing is whether the price from here can continue and move lower, or we expect to get one move up before we get this down move. Okay. Anyway, when if the price come here, then from there we see if there is a continuation or not, or we can get this move. Anyway, now we want to see how we can trade here. Okay, based on forward chart, we don't have any trade set up as well. In this case, we move to lower time frame. And if we refer back to my last video, you mentioned there was a one trade from here, and I don't know whether traders could get the trade from here as well. If not, if yes, at least when the price was here, they should know how to manage, because we have this. And now the question is, what's the next? If we want to trade based on 1 hour chart. Based on 1 hour chart, we don't have any trade set up. No, the thing is how we can trade it. Whether we want, if we want to look for buy or sell. If you want to look for buy, right now we don't have any trade set up. If there is a continuation, price move a bit higher sharply, if we get any correction, a small correction of flag, then we see whether we can look for buy. That's mean right now we don't have any buy setup. We need to price move a bit higher, give a correction before we look for buy. That's mean we need to get the buy setup. And we don't need to buy we cannot buy right now, because there is a possibility we get the correction and the price can drop. And how about if we get the correction similar to what I'm drawing here, then from there we can look for sell. That means we don't have any buy setup. All depends on what we will get from here, whether the correction for the down move or continuation correction for the up move. Okay, because we have two options. That's why before we sell or buy, we should get the buy setup or sell setup. Anyway, can we compare this one in relative to this? For example, to have entry below this, I don't suggest it, because the ways reverse is quite sharp. If we want to look for sell, wait to get the correction before we get this sell. And if anyone wants to have entry below this, if the price move higher, for sure we don't need to trade by having entry. If the price remain here, it depends what you want, sharp move down. Okay, that means it will be really risky to have entry below this. Anyway, we don't have any trade set up, and the only thing is we need to wait and see what we'll get. Then from there we make a decision. Now we continue with silver. Okay, again, based on the silver, if you refer back to my last video, we said we want to see whether we get the down move and what we expect the price to come to this level. We don't have much changes. We move to forward chart. Okay, based on forward chart, we explained that we expect the price was somewhere around here. We expect the price to come at least to this low high. Then from there, we can look for sell. This is what we explained. And now from what we have, that means we are not sure how high it can go, whether the price can come this high, this top or break, we are not sure. But if we get any sell, we are more interested. Now the only question is whether this is the only correction for the next move down, or we should wait the price to break this top, we get the different correction for the next move down. I mean the flat. Okay. Anyway, we don't have any sell setup, but if we get any sell setup, we are more interested. In this case, we move to 1 hour chart. And based on 1 hour chart, if we refer back to my last video when the price was somewhere around here, I think we mentioned that maybe we get similar to what we have here, then we can look for buy. This is what we get, what I explained in my last video. And I mentioned if we are look for buy, we can have entry above this. Anyway, we could take the trade, and it didn't move very fast. And I think the traders should start to protect the trade. For me, I move my stop loss to break even because mostly I will take out the trade. And if they put the stop loss here, no, I think it's better to move their stop loss whether to here or here. If they have entry above this, it depends on the traders whether they want to. If they want to keep, they keep. At least move their stop loss to minimize their, the stop loss. Or if they want to take out, they can take out the trade. Anyway, this is what we're looking based on our analysis in my last video, and we call it short-term trade. And now the question is, do we have any sell setup? No, we don't have it. And how about if we get another correction here? Still, we can look for buy. It depends. But if the price start to correct, then similar to any of this, still we can look for buy, and we can expect the price to break this top. All right. It depends on the traders whether they want to trade within this. Within this range or not. But anyway, any buy setup from here, we call it as a short-term trade. As long as we get into the profit, we start to manage it. But we are more interested in the down move. But right now, we don't have any trade setup. The only thing is we need to wait to see how high it can go, whether it can break this top before get the sell setup or not. Okay, if we want to look for sell, at least we need to get the sharp move correction. At least that means we need to get the buy setup. Okay, anyway, we don't have any trade setup. We only just follow this chart and see what we can get it. In this case, we just follow the chart. We see whether we can get the trade setup or not. Now we move to gold, and based on daily chart for gold, as we can see, still we are within this, and we mentioned that whether we can get the down move similar to silver or not. Okay, based on daily chart, no more changes. We move to forward chart. Okay, based on forward chart, even in my last video mentioned that if the price come to this high, then from there we can look for sell. That means we have this correction. Whether this one can continue and move higher, how high it can go, we are not sure. But if we want to sell, we should get sell setup. And right now we don't have any sell setup. We want to see whether we can get the sell setup or not based on forward chart. And if we move to lower time frame, okay, we had the buy opportunity here based on 1 hour chart when the price was somewhere around here. In my last video, I mentioned if we get similar to what we have here, then from there we can look for buy. This is what we get it, similar to silver. And now the traders, whether they could have entry above this or they buy from this move. Okay, anyway, now we should be in the trade. If anyone is following my last video, that's mean we should look for, we should be in the buy. And in my last video, I mentioned when the price come to this level, we start to manage it. Now this is the times we should start to manage. Now the question is whether the traders want to take out the trade or at least move their stop loss to break even. Because based on higher time frame, we are looking for down move. But before we look for down move, before we look for sell, we need to confirm that we get the sell setup, because we are not sure how high it can go. We cannot sell without having a sell setup. Okay, anyway, how high it can go, we are not sure. At least the only thing is we need to manage this trade. And as I explained, we are looking for sell, but we don't have any sell setup right now. Do we need to look for buy from here? It depends what we will get. If we get a correction, still we can look, but it depends what type of the correction we get. And we are more interested in the sell. In this case, we just follow the chart. We see what we will get from here, whether we get the correction for the continuation or we get any the trade setup for the down move. Anyway, we just follow the chart. If I see for gold any changes or any trade setup, I will share on YouTube. In this case, this is the only information we have for gold. EURUSD, we start with the daily chart. Okay, for EURUSD, based on daily chart, we mentioned that in my last video whether this one can be start of the down move or we get the bigger correction for the continuation before we get the down move. But as we can see, there is no much changes from our analysis. Now the only question is whether we need to know what's this, the reversal or bigger correction. And as I explained, we are more interested if we get the correction for the continuation. Okay, because based on I explained in my last video, based on the weekly, we want to break the highest at the top for the weekly. Anyway, we move to lower time frame. Okay, based on forward chart, even in my last video, I mentioned that when the price, I mentioned that may we get this correction. That means this is the correction in relative. This is a correction in relative to this. That's why I explained, maybe this is in my last video, we get similar to what we have here for the next move down. Okay, now the question is whether this is similar to what we have here, we can expect for the correction and the price can drop. Okay, but we don't have any information to confirm that. That means if we want to look for sell, we need to get the trade set up. And now the question is what we will get from here, how high it can go, or whether maybe this is the start of the up move. Because if we compare these two to each other, we see what we have here. We have a divergence and we have a divergence. But no, the only thing is we need to confirm whether this is the start of the up move or correction for the next move down. But based on forward, we need to see what we will get from here. But based on forward chart, we don't have any trade set up. In this case, we move to lower time frame. Okay, first of all, since my last two video analyses, we have two buy setup, one here and here. When the traders see this one, they should start to manage these two if they have a buy from here, or at least they move their stop loss to here. It depends. If they still, they keep the trade, because may we get the reversal. Okay, and another one, how about if anyone buy from here? Okay, no, at least they should know what they want to do, how to manage it. This is not we explain, we didn't have it, but some of the traders may trade based on this. Okay, anyway, no, what I want to say is that do we need to look for sell or for buy from here? Okay, we don't have any trade set up now. The only thing is, can this one be a correction? Even there is a possibility the price come break this low and continue. Okay, for those traders, they want to move their stop loss for this and this to below this. They need to know how to manage, because there is a possibility also price break and reverse. Okay, anyway, it depends on them. But now the thing is whether we need to look for buy or for sell. Okay, no, can we put this one as a correction to each other for the continuation? If yes, it depends how deep it can go. If it break this one and lower, then I think we need to look for buy setup within this range if there is a reversal. But if the price above this continue to reverse, I don't think we can get a really good buy setup within this. The only way is to look for having entry above this. Okay, it depends whether they want to traders, they want to risk or not. Okay, in this case, if we want to look for buy, we wait, we see what we will get from here. For me, I'm not really interested to have entry above this. I would prefer to wait and see what I get here. Then from there, I make a decision. If there is a up move, then from there, see how I can trade. Okay, anyway, we don't have any trade set up for now. And those traders, if they get the trade from here, no, they're supposed to know how to manage it. They need to see if there is a confirmation, if like here or lower, we get any small flag. It's like we have the sharp move, the small flag or correction, then mostly price can drop some more. Then from there, at least they need to, it depends on them, whether they want to close or they want to manage it. Okay, anyway, for buy setup, we don't have any trade setup. We need to see what we will get from here. Can we expect this is the one is going to move down? Because we explained that maybe we will get this. The only thing is how high it can go before we get this. Okay, we don't have any sell setup as well. The only thing is if we want to sell, if this one continue, as I explained, give a correction, then from there we can get sell. That means at least we need to get the sharp like what we have and a small correction over there flag before we get the sell. How about if the price continuously from here drop? We are not going to sell it. We need to get the trade set up. Anyway, we just follow and see what we will get from here, from this correction, whether any confirmation for the down move or up move. In this case, we just follow the chart, and if I see any changes, I will share. Pound USD also we are based on daily chart. Okay, based on daily chart, we don't have much changes. Still, we are within this move, and as we explained, if we get how high this one can go, we are not sure. But if we get any down move, we are more interested. Anyway, if we move to forward chart, we have no much changes. Now the only thing is this one can break this top or not, because from there we want to see if the price break this top. If we get any down move, we will be more interested. Okay, but before that, we cannot see this is the divergence. We need to wait the price break the top, then from there we see what we will get from here, but from the indicators. But from right now, what I have, if I see the price broke the top, then from there, if I have a divergence, any down move, I will be more interested. Okay, because we are not sure how long we will be in this move. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup, and as we can see, the price is moving. I mean, keep the uptrend, but we don't have any trade setup. If I move to 1 hour chart, also based on the 1 hour chart, we don't have any trade setup. We need to see the price break this top. Then from there, we make a decision. Anyway, even my last video when the price was here, I mentioned that I talked about the possibility, but I mentioned that even in my last video, we didn't have any trade setup, whether for buy or sell. Anyway, we wait and see what we will get when the price break the top. Then from there, we can make a decision. If we get the sell, we are more interested in the sell. Anyway, we just follow the chart and see what we will get. Aussie USD, based on daily chart, we don't have much changes. Also, if we compare to my last video analysis, the only thing is we need to look into this correction, whether this is a correction for the continuation, how high it can go, we are not sure. Okay, in this case, we move to lower time frame, forward chart. Okay, based on forward chart, if we refer back to my analysis, my last video, we mentioned when the price break this low, which we had here, then we mentioned we're looking for buy. And what we expect to look for buy and the price come to this high at least. Okay, now we have this based on lower time frame. Even in my last video, I mean, we have a few trade. Now the question is how high this one can go. Can we expect this is a correction for the one move down before we get the up move? Okay, anyway, we don't have any trade setup based on forward chart. We only need to look for this and see what's the next. But based on a lower time frame, if we move to 1 hour chart, okay, based on 1 hour chart, we had one trade here in my last video, and when the price was here, I mentioned that when exactly here, I mentioned if we want to look for buy because of this, let the price drop one more before we look for buy if we want to have entry above this. Okay, or even if you want to look for trade. This is what I explained based on 15 minutes. I think the price was somewhere around here. That's why I mentioned that if you want to look for buy, let the price drop one more. We get the correction before we look for buy. And when the price drop, we have a few trade here based on 15 minutes, one opportunity to put, and the second opportunity. And now we need to see whether we can look for buy from here or not. Okay. Anyway, we have two opportunity to look for buy, or even if the traders put the entry above this, also there was. Okay. But when the price dropped quite a bit below this, I mean, the best was to trade based on these two small correction, or whether we call it the flag. Okay. Anyway, now we should be in this trade. And as I say, based on forward chart, we expect the price. This is, I mean, what we're looking, the price come to this high. But the only question, whether the price can move to that high or not. Okay, how about the indicators? We don't have much information. Any of them showing the different things. We cannot rely on that. Now the only thing is, first of all, if we want to look for another buy, if we get, I mean, we have this is the only correction we have it. Having entry above this is a good idea. And what we expect, price sharply move. If it be tagged, we see we are going to get a bigger correction, then we take out the trade. And the only things I want to mention that's mean we can look for buy. Is there a possibility we get a bigger correction similar to what I have here before we get the up move? Yes. Okay, that's why if you want to have entry above this, what you want the price break the top and continue. If we see tag is correcting, take out the trade. And for those traders, they have entry better from here or above this. And if they see the price is correcting here, still then can maintain. But if we see any reversal, then we take out the trade. Okay. Anyway, we need to see what we will get from here, whether the small correction for the continuation or bigger correction for continuation. Okay. Do we need to look for sell from here? I mean, we expect this is the only move and this is the start of the down move. It depends. If we see there is a reversal, that's why I say the traders have to manage the trade they have it. Okay. Anyway, we need to bear in mind, may we get the correction here for the next move down as well. Okay. But what I explain, expect mostly we will get another correction, whether it's this big or not, for another flat for the next move down. If the price break this top, we get this break this top, then from there we need, if there is a reversal, we start to manage. But from what we have right now, we need to see what we will get from here. Okay. Anyway, we just follow and see whether we can look for another buy or not. And those traders, they are in the trade. If they see any reversal, they should know how to manage the trade they have it. Okay. New Zealand USD, we start with the daily chart as well. Okay, based on daily chart, we have no much changes compared to my last video analysis. We are still within this correction. Anyway, we move to lower time frame based on forward chart. Okay, based on forward chart, I explained in my last video that we are looking for the buy. We are looking for the up move. The only thing is we need to know how deep this one can go, because we mentioned we are looking for this correction. The only thing is we want to see how deep this one can go, whether this one can break the low before we get the up move or not. And I explained that still there is a possibility we get a correction for next move down, similar to what we have here. That's mean based on forward chart, we don't have any trade setup, but if we get any sell setup, we are interested. And if we get a sell, if you want to look for sell, if we expect to get a bigger correction. And when the price break this low, we need to start to manage it based on what we have. But right now, we don't have any trade setup. If we get a bigger correction, we will be more interested for sell. And after that, we can look for buy. Okay. Anyway, we move to lower time frame. Okay. It's on 1 hour chart. If you refer back to my last video, when the price was exactly here, I mentioned that if we want to look for buy, one of the options was to have an entry above this. But I mentioned if the price drop and break this low, and exactly that time the price was somewhere around here, then having entry above this is not valid. This is what happened. That means we didn't have any trade setup for New Zealand. Okay, now the thing is, what are we going to get here? Okay, as I say, based on forward chart, if we get the sell setup, we can look for sell. But right now, we don't have any sell setup. If we get a correction here for the one move up, then from there, if we get any sell setup, we can look for sell. And as long as we get the sell setup, as long as the price break this low, we need to start to manage it. How complex? What type of the correction we get here will be more complex, or the small correction? It depends. If we get the price correct a bit more, it's better for us. But anyway, if I want to look for sell, we get a correction here. We get one move up, then at least break this top, then any sell from there, we look for sell. Do we need to look for buy from this correction? It depends on the traders, but for me, I want look for buy. If anyone wants to look for buy, they can have an entry above this for the sharp move up, but we are not interested for buy. Let the price drop, one move up, we get the bigger correction, then any sell from there, we are more interested to and break this low. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup. The only thing is we need to look for this correction and see whether we can get the one more sell setup or not. In this case, we just follow the chart. If I see any changes, I will share on YouTube. Crude oil, we start with the daily chart. Okay, based on daily chart, still we are within this move. We have no more changes from my last video analysis. We move to lower time frame. Okay, based on forward chart, if we refer back to my last video when the price was somewhere around here, we mentioned that we had two options. Whether this is the only correction and this is the start of the up move, which is going to break the top, or we will have one more correction when the price was here for the next move down. Okay, as long as the price haven't broke the top, still we can go with these two options. This is the start of the up move, or still we can go for correction for the next move down. Okay, that means still this two option is active as long as the price haven't broke this top. But if the price is almost near to the top, but if the price broke the top, then at that time this is the one. We didn't have the second option. This is the only one we have it. Okay. Anyway, now we want to see how we can trade it. Okay. If I remove this, right. We don't have any trade set up. The only things we need to wait, we see what we get here. Whether this one can continue and break the top and continue, or we will have a bigger correction for the one move down. That means we will be within the bigger correction. Okay. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup. We move to lower time frame. We see how we can trade. And based on my last video, we talked about when the price was here. We mentioned how we can look for sell. There was no sell setup because the price didn't reverse. And there was a few buy setup. It depends on the traders whether they could get with a sharp move on this correction or whether here. Anyway, no, we don't have any trade setup, whether for buy or for sell. If you want to look for sell, that means still we consider still we are within this correction. Without breaking the top. If the price is below this top, okay. If we want to look for sell, any sharp correction, we can look for sell, a small flag. We can expect the price at least to top break this low, because that time we will be within this big correction. Okay, but if the price broke the top, then I think we need to look into it whether if there is we can look for the sell or not. Okay, and beside that, this is what we can. I mean, right now I'm talking about the sell. If we want to look for sell, but how about the buy? Do we need to look for buy? Okay, form it depends whether we get the buy setup. If I put here and this one almost is near to each other. Okay, whether we want to look for buy within this small range, it depends of the traders, whether they want to get or not. If they get any correct here, they get any correction similar to this, they can look for buy, but any buy will be short-term buy. As long as they get into the profit, they need to start to manage it, because you are not sure whether the price can break the top and continue or break and reverse. Anyway, we don't have any trade setup. The only thing is we just follow the chart and see how we can trade it. And the thing is we need to know what we will get from here. Then from there we can make a decision. Right now we don't have any trade setup. Anyway, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will share on YouTube. Thanks.